Lucy quickly went to move the cabinet, but the cabinet was too heavy and she couldn't lift it. Soon, a lot of fresh blood seeped out from under the cabinet. Her son was crushed to death. Lucy instantly collapsed. This film is based on a real-life event in Bursa, with a bizarre atmosphere and a strange story. It makes every viewer believe they have really encountered a ghost. Since her son was crushed, strange things have continued to happen at Lucy's house. Her husband is even more unable to accept this, and has always blamed his wife for their son's death. He not only insults her every day, but also claims that she is the murderer of their son. After her husband left in a fit of rage, Lucy finally dared to cry out in pain. Her son died right in front of her eyes. She is more heartbroken than anyone else. When her husband came back, he seemed like a different person. He was acting completely out of character. He kissed his wife as soon as he entered the door, and said with a smiling face, "I just saw Lucy's aunt on the road." When Lucy heard this, she was dumbfounded because her aunt passed away 30 years ago. She suspected that her husband might have had a mental problem. Lucy didn't dare to think too much. A hurried knocking sound came from outside the door. She was startled when she walked to the door. It turned out to be her husband's voice. Lucy was extremely terrified. When she looked into the living room, it was empty. Who was that just now? She thought. She quickly walked over and opened the door. Her husband came in and started cursing at her. It was clear that this was the husband Lucy was familiar with. Could it be that she was hallucinating due to excessive grief? Lucy no longer dared to stay at home, so she went out to relax. But as she walked, she saw the cabinet that had crushed her son. Lucy was flustered. She felt that she might be sick. The next morning, she told her best friend about the strange things that happened last night. The friend thought it was a hallucination caused by her excessive grief, but only Lucy knew that what happened last night was not simple. When she got home, she took out all of her son's clothes from his lifetime and started scrubbing them. He would wash her son's clothes every few days, as if he were still alive. To ease the pain in her heart, Lucy came to her child's grave. She touched the photo of her son on the tombstone and kept saying, "I'm sorry," over and over again. But just then, a terrifying scene appeared. "Give me back my child," an ominous voice repeated. Seeing this scene again, Lucy was so scared that she quickly left. When she got home, another strange thing happened. The clothes that were drying in the yard were gone. She thought her husband had brought them inside. But when she opened the box containing her son's belongings, she was horrified to find that the box was full of bloody water, and her son's photo was floating on top of the bloody water. Out of instinct, Lucy quickly scooped out the photo. When she looked inside the box again, a shriveled corpse was lying inside. Lucy was so scared she ran downstairs, and at that moment, her son's clothes were hanging in the yard again. The series of strange events finally caught Lucy's attention. With the introduction of her best friend, she found a local exorcism master. The master asked a psychic child to drink water with Lucy's blood. Then some bloody scenes began to appear in his mind. After seeing these tragic scenes, the master seemed to understand something. He said that the son was cursed by 41 needles of black magic. This is a curse that makes a person infertile, and the person who cast the curse is a relative of Lucy's. Otherwise, it would not be so effective. After hearing the master's words, Lucy was greatly shocked, so she rushed back to her mother's house overnight to ask what was going on. Her mother was very happy to see her daughter arrive, and quickly made her favorite food. But when Lucy asked about her aunt's life before she died, her mother immediately became nervous. A painful memory instantly came to mind. The aunt originally had a happy family of 4, but her husband was a drunkard. The drunk husband actually tied his 2 daughters to a millstone. Then he took out a prepared knife and put it against the neck of one of the girls. He exerted a lot of force and blood splattered everywhere. After killing his 2 daughters, the man walked out of the room with a can of gasoline. He poured it all over himself, then took out a lighter and lit himself on fire. The mother told Lucy that after that night, her aunt's family was wiped out. Seeing her mother's heartbreaking tears, Lucy quickly comforted her, saying that she did not mention it on purpose. The mother and daughter then went back to their rooms to sleep. After her daughter fell asleep, the mother got up and went to the mother-in-law's room. She took out a string of prayer beads from the cabinet and prepared to chant sutras and pray. But while she was talking to her mother-in-law, a voice came from the cabinet. The two looked at each other, both puzzled. The mother plucked up her courage and walked over to open the cabinet, but she saw a terrifying scene. "Give me back my child," a voice from within the cabinet demanded. The aunt appeared in the cabinet. Lucy heard the scream and quickly came to check. The mother immediately put on a nonchalant expression. Lucy's intuition told her that her mother was hiding something from her. The next day, she decided to visit her aunt's former residence in person. But when a passerby learned of the place she was going, they became scared and fled. When she tells people where she is going, they become terrified because it is a rumored haunted house. However, to uncover the truth, Lucy still goes to her aunt's house, which has been abandoned for many years and is in disrepair. It's an eerie place where it feels like countless eyes are watching her. As Lucy carefully enters, the door slams shut behind her. Frightened, she hears her son's laughter from a bedroom and he keeps calling out for Mom. She opens the door but finds only a bed. A sound comes from under the blankets. When she pulls them back, it's just a doll. She looks up and sees an old family photo of her aunt. Before she can see the faces of the children in the photo, she gets another fright. Then she hears a voice say, "Let's play together." The house fills with a ghostly wind, and Lucy runs away, but she absent-mindedly takes the doll with her. She wants to go home to find her husband, but unbeknownst to her, he is at their son's grave. Overcome with grief, he becomes resolute and takes out a gun, shooting himself. Lucy, unaware of any of this, returns home only to find that her living room has turned into a tomb. A woman who looks just like her appears, holding a doll identical to the one Lucy is holding. The woman says, "I should have had a boy, but you killed him. Give me my child back." Terrified, Lucy flees. She believes the doll is the cause of all this, so she takes it to a shaman. The shaman cuts open the doll's stomach and finds a blood-stained cloth with a curse written on it. The shaman explains that this curse was meant to be passed down through her family for generations to prevent them from having boys. If a boy was born, he would die a miserable early death. The shaman reveals the person who cast the spell was Lucy's aunt. Lucy then realizes the true reason for her son's death. He was cursed by her aunt. Determined to understand why her family would do such a thing, Lucy decides to confront her mother. Meanwhile, her mother is chatting with the grandmother, oblivious to what has happened. Suddenly, a fly buzzes past her grandmother's head. The next second, Lucy's mother begins to decay at a visible rate, as if she had been dead for decades. The grandmother, frightened, rushes out and begins praying with a string of prayer beads, seemingly begging for forgiveness. Lucy arrives just then and is shocked to see her grandmother, who she thought had died years ago, talking. The grandmother reveals the whole truth. After her aunt had 2 daughters, her husband despised her because she couldn't have a son to carry on the family name. The mother, knowing this, conspired with the grandmother. The grandmother, who practiced witchcraft, promised the aunt she could guarantee her a son in her 3rd pregnancy. Overjoyed, the aunt and grandmother decapitated a rabbit, drained its blood, and used its skin to create the terrifying doll. They soaked the curse in the blood and then stuffed it inside the doll. The grandmother told the couple they must keep the doll under their pillow while they slept. The couple was overjoyed, thinking they had found a way to have a son, unaware they had fallen into the grandmother's wicked trap. Months later, her aunt's husband, possessed by evil, brutally murdered their 2 daughters in the stable before setting himself on fire. Her aunt went into premature labor and gave birth to a girl, Lucy. The grandmother explains that Lucy's mother could never have children. The woman who Lucy thought was her mother was actually her aunt. She used a pillow to smother her own sister to possess her child. Upon learning the truth, Lucy completely breaks down. She never imagined that her 2 closest family members were actually her enemies. She cries, "A she-demon murdered my mother and raised me, and I considered her a mother." She then screams at her grandmother, "Look at me! Look at my eyes!" Lucy storms into the bedroom to confront her mother, but is horrified to find her already dead. At that moment, the grandmother outside also gets her comeuppance. The screen goes black, and the sound of a neck being snapped is heard. When Lucy returns to her living room, her husband appears, but she doesn't know if it's a ghost or a hallucination. The video ends with a powerful message. Those who desire something will inevitably lose what they love. Desire is the original sin. It can bewitch the human heart.